Good evening. If you could all join me in standing for the invocation and the pledge. And I will ask Dr. Allen to lead us in the invocation.
Let's pray. Father, we pause and we just recognize that we need your wisdom, we need your guidance. We are so thankful that we have life and the ability to use our minds. May we just engage in purposeful work to really honor and lift up our students through this process. So thank you for allowing us to serve in this capacity. In your son's name, amen.
Amen. And now I'd like to call Cameron Vessels up to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated, except for you, Cameron. How's it going?
Good.
Good. I appreciate you coming out on this rainy night. So, can you tell me where you go to school?
Cleveland Court Elementary.
Cleveland Court Elementary. And what grade are you in?
5th.
5th. Now, I hear some fun facts about you. How many AR points do you have?
1019.
1,019? Wow. So, I don't know how long ago this was submitted, but it says 700 here. So 1,019 is not what I was expecting. That's really impressive. So what's your favorite book that you've read this year?
All of them are good.
All of them are good? Awesome. All right, that's a great answer. So can you tell me something about what you do for fun?
I play soccer.
You play soccer? Very cool. I hear that you also like chess and the Rubik's Cube. Can you solve a Rubik's Cube?
Yes.
That is always so impressive to me because I cannot solve a Rubik's Cube. And then what grade level math are you taking?
6th.
6th, but you're only in 5th grade.
Yep.
That is really impressive. Man. Well, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us tonight. Can you tell me what you want to be when you grow up? Do you know yet?
Nope.
Nope. That is okay. You know what? I need you to enjoy reading and being in 5th grade because that is just the best time. Do you have some friends or family with you tonight?
Yes.
Can you introduce us to them?
I have my dad and my principal.
Your dad and your principal. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for bringing Cameron to share him with us this evening. Well, Cameron, thank you. We appreciate you. And have a great rest of your school year. All right, so we will now call this meeting to order. And our first order of business is to accept the school board agenda. So I'll hear a motion to accept the agenda for April 25th, 2023.
Move to accept.
Second. Ms. Miller and Ms. Fields, any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Next, I'll turn it over to Superintendent Hyde for some special recognitions.
Pardon me, I'm sorry. I'd like to ask School Board Member Justin Sharpless to step down for today's special recognitions. I'd also like to invite Stacy Davis, Senior Coordinator of Library Media Services, to come forward to receive the School Library Month proclamation. Lisa Miller will read the proclamation.
Thank you. Okay, whereas the school library is to ensure that students and staff are effective users of ideas and information, and whereas the school librarian's role is to provide the leadership and expertise necessary to ensure that the school library is an integral part of the instructional program of the school. And whereas the Board of Education has entrusted the school librarian in each school to teach the skills of locating and using information through traditional resources and new technologies to provide literature, appreciation activities, and to guide and encourage content and recreational reading to every student. And whereas lifelong learning begins and is systematically developed through the school library curriculum of the elementary and secondary schools. And whereas the school library contributes to the individual growth and development of all students while fostering both excellence and equity in education. And whereas the school librarians of Polk County have dedicated themselves to work for quality school libraries for all students. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of Polk County Public Schools does hereby proclaim April 2023 as School Library Month in all of the public schools of Polk County and calls upon school administrators, teachers, students, and citizens of Polk County to recognize and support this action and to participate throughout the month of April in the celebration of School Library Month.
This time, I'd like to invite Lori Edwards, Supervisor of Elections, who will come forward to recognize Lake Gibson High and Summerlin Academy.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Rachel Harris. I'm the Community Services Director for the Elections Office. With me today is Sonia Miller. She's our Outreach Coordinator. Clearly, we're not Lori Edwards, the Supervisor of Elections. Unfortunately, she was unable to attend this evening. But the two of us are here, and we are thrilled and honored to present these awards on her behalf. So this year, the Supervisor of Elections Office visited 15 high schools between February and April to offer students the opportunity to register to vote. As you may know, students can pre-register, and once they're activated on their birthday, we send them a voter information card. There were 335 students this year that took us up on that offer, which is incredible. Today, we recognize the schools that register the most new voters. So for the most number of registrations, at 122 new registrations this year, the winner is, drumroll, Lake Gibson Senior High School. And Mr. Matthew Diaz is here to accept the award on behalf of the school. Thank you so much. Thank you for going above and beyond to make sure that all the students got the opportunity to register to vote. It's a very important job, and we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem. I'd like to thank Ms. Diaz, who's in charge of our tribal council, and we're blessed to have a student body that is very active. And if you've been to Lake Gibson High School on the north side, you know that we like to make things a competition, and Mr. Van himself is very competitive. He doesn't like to lose at anything. So any hardware that we can bring back to Lake Gibson High School is always a blessing, and that's something we want to keep doing, for as long as we're all together at Lake Gibson High School. So appreciate you.
Thank you.
We strive to come back here again next year.
Madam Chair, that concludes special recognitions for this evening.
Thank you, Superintendent Hyde. And I think Mr. Van would be.
I'm sorry, we did have one more. I'm sorry, that was for the highest number. We also have one for the highest percentage.
Oh,
I apologize for that. Okay, so the winner for the highest percentage of student registrations at 16.07% is Summerlin Academy. And I believe Major Jennifer Bartell is here to accept the award. Here you go. Thank you so much. And a special thank you to Truvy the dog, who's right over there, who helped motivate the children register as well. So thank you again. And a big thank you to the school board and each of the participating high schools for your help in this cooperative effort to remind students to make their voices heard. Thank you again.
thank you.
Thank you all so much. I appreciate that there was a dog motivating students. I think it should stay for our board meeting. That's really the motivation that we need. Awesome.
All right. So, and we need to go back because I did not have Superintendent Hyde read the revisions for when we accepted the agenda. So we need to re-accept the agenda with revisions. So Superintendent Hyde, if you would read those revisions, please.
Gladly, Madam Chair. Item number 1, D number 2, approve the minutes of the March 28th, 2023 work session meeting. Minutes were subsequently attached. Item F1, new administrators, item and attachment were added. Item J1, utility easement agreement for Southwest Middle School between TCO and PCPS, moved to May 9th board meeting. Item K number 1, non-instructional personnel actions, attachment was added. Item K number 2, administrative and instructional personnel actions, attachment was added. Item K number 3, temporary duty assignments, attachment was added. And finally, item N1, 2023-2024 property insurance renewal, A.J. Gallagher, attachment was added.
Thank you, Superintendent Hyde. And I will need a new motion to approve the agenda, accept the agenda as revised.
Move to accept the revised agenda.
Second.
Ms. Miller and Ms. Fields, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. We'll next go to public comments for items on the agenda, and we have one public comment at this time. So as a reminder, we'll have two opportunities for public comment this evening. The first will be for items on the agenda, and the second will be at the end of the meeting for public comment on items that are not on this evening's agenda. To register to speak, community members must fill out a speaker card in the lobby prior to the meeting. All speakers will be given 3 minutes. The light will turn yellow when you have 1 minute left, and you will have a beep. You will hear a beep when your time is concluded. As a reminder, public comments are an opportunity for us to hear your thoughts and comments. This is not a question and answer session. However, if you are seeking additional information, I encourage you to contact any of us or the superintendent's office outside of board meetings, and we would be happy to have a deeper discussion. So our public comment for agenda items is Ms. Pam Luce.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to speak about item P5, the purchase of Imagine language and literature software. My concern, can you hear me?
Sorry, we just have to make sure the timer's
Oh,
starting.
that's
I
all right.
apologize. We moved it down there.
My concern about the software is the relationship that this company has with CASEL, which is the Collaborative for Academic Social Emotional Learning. You may not know it, but social emotional learning has been injected into every subject matter within the school system. And with social emotional learning, CASEL collects data through surveys. And if they are allowed to do this, that survey gives each child, each student, throughout its life, a social score. And this follows them through life. Panorama Education is behind CASEL. So I'm going to read you just a few of the questions that are in the surveys that are shown to these students. During the past week, how often did you feel angry, lonely, sad, worried, or frustrated? How important is it that you do well in your classes? Now, a student one day might feel like it's really important to do well in your classes, and then tomorrow, like my granddaughter this morning, she was mad at me for 1 minute, and the next minute I was the best person in the world. So these are very subjective and to the moment questions. How excited are you about going to this class? Well, today I might be very excited, but tomorrow I might be dreading because we're having a test. How much respect do students at your school show you? That might depend on whether they're having a fight with their best friend that day or not. When your teacher asks, "How are you?" how often do you feel that your teachers really know what to answer, know your answer? How positive or negative is the energy in the school? These are just, some of the samples of some of the surveys that are going out to our students. I have never known Polk County schools to collect student data, and I hope that that's still true, because this is dangerous. This is very dangerous that we would be collecting information on our students and sharing it. This is a real invasion of privacy. So I hope that that's still the case, that Polk County School District still does not collect student data and share it.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
When we get to the item, we can talk about it. All right, next order of business is approval of the minutes. So our first set of minutes to approve is from the March 28th, 2023 school board meeting. I'll hear a motion to approve the minutes of the March 28th, 2023 school board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Allen and Ms. Miller. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? And the motion carries. Next, I'll seek a motion to approve the minutes of the March 28th, 2023 work session.
Move to approve.
Second.
Ms. Miller and Ms. Fields. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. And finally, we'll have a set of minutes from April 11th, 2023 work session. And I'll now hear a motion to approve the minutes of the April 11th, 2023 work session.
Move. Second.
Ms. Fields and Ms. Miller. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. All right, next we will move on to the consent agenda. I'll hear a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Cunningham and Dr. Allen. Any discussion? Can I have Ms. Fields?
Thank you. I know that Mr. Hill is here, Superintendent Hyde,
Yes, ma'am.
and I think you answered most of the questions that I had, but I am interested in hearing more about the Gulf Coast Partnership.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Hill, please come forward.
And that's item P3.
Superintendent Hyde, Madam Chair, and board members, Fields. So thank you for the opportunity to share some information with you about the Gulf Coast Partnership. The Gulf Coast Partnership, GCP, is a cornerstone of our district's Level 2 Principal Preparation Program. Through this 12-year collaboration, we've had 12 cohorts of principal interns participate in the GCP as part of our district's state-approved Principal Intern Leadership Program. The GCP is a partnership program with the University of South Florida, and its purpose is to prepare assistant principals to obtain principal certification and become successful principals. The district partners are Hernando, Manatee, Polk, as well as districts from the Heartland Consortium, which includes Hardy, Highlands, Hendry, Okeechobee, and Glades. And so in regards to the Heartland Consortium, those are very small districts, and there are times they do not participate because they may not have any participants at that time, particular time. So, and so they all participate. One of the things that this does for our interns is they get to participate with their colleagues from other districts. So it's very beneficial in that regard as well. Participants lead the program, completing a major school improvement project and many practical learning activities throughout each part of the year-long academy. The curriculum also includes seminars that we facilitate here in our district, and I have the privilege of facilitating that process. We have seminars and we have a portfolio for its completion as well. All program components are aligned to the Florida leadership standards and meet all the expectations and approval of the Department of Education and state legislation. Principal interns present their project progress 3 times during the year, with their final project presentation formally shared with GCP and district personnel during the last session. So we have 2 of those. We just completed one of those last Friday, where we had, I believe it was 9 members did their presentation. It was done virtually, and very proud of Polk County. They did a very good job. And we had some of their principals would sit in, district leaders are invited, and of course Dr. Mann from USF reviews those as well as myself. So the GCP started 12 years ago through a Race to the Top grant. USF and district partners have sustained the program through the collaboration and hard work, and so that program's been maintained for quite some time. The district utilizes funds to purchase books, materials, and the program fee, which is $1,100 per principal intern. And so that's kind of in a nutshell the program. I've enjoyed being a part of it this year, learned an awful lot about it, learned an awful lot about the LEAD plan and the Aspiring Leaders program, and really excited about Mr. Hyde, our superintendent's vision for our leadership pipeline. So it's definitely an honor and a privilege. I'm enjoying the work, and certainly if there's any time I can help and assist in providing clarification, it's always my honor and privilege to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. I was saying in the work session that there were a lot of changes.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know there was a lot of work involved.
Yes, ma'am.
And what I was reviewing, and I told Superintendent Hyde this when we had a break, I was looking at the highlighted copy of the work that you did to help me understand what the changes were. And that's when I noticed there were quite a few changes, and I just needed some clarity on it. And like I said earlier, Superintendent Hyde answered most of my questions, but I appreciate you coming and answering another.
Absolutely, my privilege. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Any further discussion on the consent agenda? Dr. Allen?
Yeah, so I was just going to bring up, as it relates to consent agenda item P5, there was some concern about this that came in via email, and then sent that off to Superintendent Hyde just to do a follow-up. So if you wanted to maybe speak to that, would be awesome.
Absolutely. Board members, you received an update on that item based off communication that you received from a stakeholder. As was noted in there, this is an existing program that we've been using in Polk County Public Schools. We do not use, and there's a difference between this program and the CASEL program, which is referenced, I believe, earlier as it relates to the SEL component. We do not have the Imagine Purpose, which is the CASEL SEL Solutions component. That's not included in this procurement. That's a completely separate item. In fact, we've not utilized any SEL software in our school district since January. And part of that is because it must go through the PURE process to make sure that there is no data sharing. So that addresses the concerns that were expressed here tonight. We have adopted a new process and a new requirement for any company that we utilize and contract with that uses electronic information, and there's even a potential that they collect student information. There is something that Mr. Bridges and the team have gone through that we now share that they must sign that protects our students from having their data shared and or collected. And if they refuse to utilize it, we don't utilize that product any longer. Many of you may have heard concerns from staff about programs that we've always used being locked this year, and why can't we have access to them any longer? Simply because we never had that data protection step in place previously. And so we have ramped up our security measures to ensure that we are protecting our student data and our employee data to the greatest extent possible. So again, that's not part of this. The NDAs that we've worked on with Mr. Bridges and with others are industry standards. So I do believe it aligns. Also from the parent company, you did receive a statement from them that they are fully compliant with all Florida statutes and that any content that would be questionable has been removed or filtered accordingly.
Thank you, Mr. Hyde. Any further discussion? Mr. Sharpless, was that yours as well? I thought I saw you. Okay. All right, with no further discussion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Superintendent Hyde, do you have any new administrators that you would like to introduce?
Yes, ma'am, we do. At this time, I'd like to bring forward, for the second time, Mr. Harry Fix, Assistant Superintendent for Facilities and Operations. He's a new hire. We stole him back from Orange County Public Schools. Mr. Fix, we had the pleasure of working with him some time ago. He left, and now we've recruited him back, and we're very excited to have him. You can see the whole team is in the back. They can't speak highly enough of him. His experience, his knowledge, his approach, his demeanor will serve us well moving forward. And I tell you, it's a new team that we have operating nowadays, and very pleased to see them. And that's not in any way a negative comment about the team we had in place previously, but you can tell they're happy, and we're doing great work right now for our community. So, Mr. Fix, welcome. Congratulations again.
Thank you, Superintendent, and thank you for the opportunity. Just so you all know, I've been doing public school planning for a number of years, and actually Mrs. Usher and I are very good friends. In fact, I actually recruited her into her first role into public education planning for Palm Beach County School District, and she's already texting me with the things to make sure that I look into and follow up with. So I hope to continue the good work that Mrs. Usher has done, as well as, and this was the great attraction, is coming back to a great team that you all have in facilities and operation, and they're doing the best they can with the resources that they've been given, as we all are, I'm sure. So thank you so much, Superintendent, for this opportunity, and I look forward to serving you all, and hopefully almost nearly as good as Mrs. Usher did.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fix.
Congratulations.
You've done this before. Thank you, Superintendent Hyde. All right, next will be our action agenda. First item will be Q1. Now I'll seek a motion to approve the contract for services for the service agreement with LaVenture Inc. for performing the external evaluation services for the 5-year Magnet School Assistant Program. The total value is $820,000.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Fields and Ms. Miller, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. Next, we will have item Q2, and I'll seek a motion to approve the naming of the football field at George Jenkins High School in honor of the late Jerry May.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Cunningham and Mr. Nolte, any discussion? Mr. Nolte, did you want to?
Yes, I've spoken with many teachers and students, graduates, and they all speak super highly of this idea to move, or to we change the name or add the name to it. And I'm sure that it would be greatly appreciated when we all agree to rename the facility.
Thank you, Mr. Nolte. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. All right, and next, and I don't think we had anyone here from George Jenkins, correct? For that one, okay.
They came last time.
I knew they were here at the work session. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody in the audience. Next will be Q3, the Elementary Agriculture Program. And I will seek a motion to approve the agriculture course addition in elementary schools.
So approved. So moved.
Second.
Mr. Sharpless isn't excited about this. Mr. Sharpless and Dr. Allen, any discussion? Mr. Sharpless.
Thank you. This is really exciting. Obviously, by my faux pas earlier. We've had a program at Willow Oak that's been piloted here in the district. We're working with other districts right now to send this letter. I appreciate the board voting or hopefully voting to approve this today. This can serve as a pipeline. We're talking about career tech education. If we start in elementary school, and it can really help to bolster our numbers in middle school and high school, and then get them certified, and eventually student success is what we're talking about. So I'm very excited about this. And Jessica Anderson and the whole team are amazing employees, and so I can't speak highly enough about this.
Thank you, Mr. Sharpless. And Dr. Allen?
Yeah, so definitely wanted to commend Ms. Anderson. I know during our work session when this was brought forward, I was fairly quiet that day that she presented. However, just, really reflecting on that as it came to us today, a lot of times on many occasions we see things that come to us as state-based initiatives coming down from Tallahassee, and we celebrate those. But this one is unique because it's coming from the ground floor. And it's coming from Polk County. And the fact that this has the potential to then impact our state, and it birthed from Polk County is a very exciting thing. So going and reflecting back to that presentation and the amount of research that was done, the committee formation, there were so many great elements to this process. And, I get a chance to serve on the curricular committee at Florida Southern, been doing that many years, but seeing how it's done at a state level is pretty exciting. So Ms. Anderson's going to do something that will impact future generations in an amazing way. So I'm very excited to be supporting this tonight as well.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. Any further discussion? Right, seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. And before we go on to Q4, I want to back up a little bit because I saw our friends from George Jenkins walk into the back. This is the one school board meeting I think ever that we've been running this far ahead of schedule, because normally, we're still doing the special recognitions at 5:45. But so I would love to invite you up. We did approve our Q2, which is the naming of the football field in honor of Jerry May. But if any of you would like to say a few words, I would love to invite you up for that. And I think if our photographer may have snuck out, but if he can hear me, if he wants to come in and take a picture.
I think he asked us to go into the hallway after.
Oh, okay, perfect. Or you guys can go into the hallway.
Tonight, but
Listen.
good to see you again. And once again, thank you so much. This is such a big deal for our community. I hope you guys will come out if you're available on the night. We'll do it in the fall. We'll have a big night dedicating the field to him. Very exciting, once again, very exciting and very thankful for you. So just on behalf of George Jenkins, our community, thank you so much for honoring Jerry the way it should be done.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say thank you. I was so nervous last time. I didn't know what was happening here, but I appreciate it, and I reread your comments and listened to them, and they mean so much to all of us. And I've had a lot of people send me messages after the big article and how this honors educators, that obviously it's not for the money, but that an educator can be honored in this way for their dedication when he didn't set out to do it that way. He just wanted to make a difference in the lives of kids. So it means so much that you all voted to support that and to honor an educator who gave their life for that. Thank you.
And Paul Freeman, he's our current head football coach, also teaches on our campus. Him and one of our volunteers were the ones who initiated this spearheading to me to get this thing rolling. So I wanted to invite Paul tonight, and I don't know if you want. Yeah, he's a football coach. So football coaches would love to talk. So no, it does. It warms our heart. And Jerry was such an important, in my life. I came 11 years ago to George Jenkins and lived on the South Side for the last 15. And the way he exemplified what it is to be a teacher and to be a coach, this honor right now, it blesses us all. And we were just so thankful. And I told Jan and Olivia and Walker at the services that we talked about that we thank them for allowing Jerry, to share with us for all these years. And it's a wonderful time. And I know our community, our kids, they ask about it all the time. And we have the dedication of the Rock, and the name kind of solidifies everything that Jerry gave. It's a wonderful honor. We thank you so much. Our kids thank you. And our senior class is really looking forward to playing this year as the permanent name, Jerry Mayfield at Veterans Stadium. So thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll take your picture out here now. I'm sorry. That's my fault. I confused the plan. Thank you.
Thank you all. Be blessed.
Right, and we will now go on to Q4. So I'll seek a motion to approve the charter school's projected enrollment for school year 2023-2024.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Cunningham and Mr. Sharpless, any discussion? Ms. Cunningham?
Thank you. I just wanted to say to Superintendent Hyde and staff, I know when we talked about this at the last work session, y'all were so gracious to add the additional information into those worksheets. It really is very helpful, particularly with the little comments at the bottom and so forth. It really was easier to read and understand. And I just want to say thank you, because every time we ask for something, obviously it takes time and talent to do that. But for me, it was easy to go through and pick things out and go, okay, I understand, why does this have these numbers? Well, because they're adding an addition or whatever. So I just wanted to say thank you. We appreciate it, because I know we ask y'all for so much, and it just made a real difference for me when I reviewed it this weekend. So thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Cunningham, and I will echo those sentiments. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Next, we will have our superintendent's report. Superintendent Hyde.
Madam Chair, I'll make it brief before I announce next month's meeting. And I won't share too much because I want to leave some things for school board members who I attended these events with. I will say our commitment events are going incredibly well. Great feedback thus far. And I want to say thank you to everyone at each one of our schools who are helping to schedule those, plan those. Also to our community liaisons who have gone out to the community and have secured all the donations for the raffle prizes that our seniors are walked away with. Everything from laptops to, I was surprised at how popular the hampers were that were full of different laundry materials. I mean, these are students going away to college, so these are things that make sense. And Bluetooth speakers and all the great things and gift cards that were there. So thank you to everybody else who's making that happen. Any opportunity we can take to celebrate the successes of our students, we should. And this is an important day. We celebrate everyone. This includes our military armed service personnel. We're celebrating our transition students. We're celebrating those who are going into workforce. And we're even celebrating those who are yet undecided, who are still trying to find their way. And that's a fantastic opportunity. It's an exciting time for them and for everyone else involved. So kudos to them and their parents and everybody else on a great 12 years to get to that point. And I know I have 2 years left for my own son. I look forward to that. The other thing I'd like to share, I recently got a chance, as you know, we expanded our high school barbecue teams. We now have 3 high schools. And George Jenkins recently held, not necessarily a competition, but our students got exposed to competition barbecue process. They had classrooms they took during the day. Admittedly, when I pulled onto the campus, ROTC, statewide competition was going on, and I pulled in, I told my wife, this got too big, too quick. I thought it was the barbecue competition till I got to the back and realized it was all the ROTC students. The barbecue was on the other side of the building. But the students learned, again, all the different aspects of what it is to be in competition barbecue. Mr. Sharpless's father actually volunteers. It's amazing what our teachers do. It's amazing the level of community support these teams get. They have $1,000 grills, very expensive pieces of equipment that have been donated to each team. In fact, one of our very own staff, the agreement with the donation is that if students want to use the equipment on weekends to practice or to cook for their family, they must have access to it, and that teacher drives and delivers the equipment to them on any weekend that they request it. And so that's a huge commitment. At the end of the day, the students actually did have one competition aspect. They had to cook a pork chop. It's not only how to cook it, but it's how to temp it, how to season it, how to prepare it, make it look good in the presentation box that goes before the judges. So they learned every aspect of competition barbecue, and I want to give them a lot of credit because that's a sport that otherwise may not get a lot of attention, and kudos to them. And I will tell you, unfortunately, I get to stay to help judge. I was very disappointed, but I'm sure it was amazing. And we have all these other great things going on in our school district. We met a young lady today who's getting ready to go away to the Air Force. She's currently a child of an Air Force enrollee or military personnel. They've moved every year for the past 4 years. She's never been in a high school more than 1 year. And she shared today, and I was there with Dr. Allen, this young lady could not be more excited about her future. And she said that this year in Lakeland High School has been the best high school year she's had in all 4 years, with the moving and everything else that's been going on. So we're really excited for her and everyone else along those lines. So wanted to share a few quick things, and I'll leave a few others for Mr. Sharpless and other board members to share. The next work session and board meeting will be held on May 9th, 2023. The work session will begin at 12:30 p.m. and the board meeting will begin at 5 p.m. The meetings will be held at the district office located at 1915 South Floral Avenue in Bartow. Madam Chair, that concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Superintendent Hyde. And I believe, Mr. Bridges, you did not have a report tonight? No. All right. And next, we will go to Ms. Cunningham.
Okay. Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to say a few words. I just wanted to ask Superintendent Hyde if we could be the recipients of some really cool, fun barbecue.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We can make that arrangement.
Okay, that would be kind of fun, yes. I did want to say thank you to Superintendent Hyde for the community conversations that were held around our district. And the staff. We had quite a bit of staff there in order to make this happen, and they toured our county, and Superintendent Hyde gave about a half an hour or so, 45-minute presentation about the status, if you will, of Polk County Public Schools, and then he opened it up for question and answer, which I thought was great. I attended the one that was held at Lake Eva in Haines City, and it was very well attended. And a lot of great questions, basically anything from traffic control to, as you indicated earlier, the new high school and the current school that's going in there on 17. So I thought that was really well received by the community, and then folks got a chance afterwards to speak one-on-one with Superintendent Hyde. So I just want to thank you. That takes a lot of time and commitment from your family and the staff as well to be there in force. And with the microphones and moving it from person to person. But I thought it was very well attended. I thought the questions were on point, at least in our area, for what's going on with the growth and kind of what you see moving forward. So I just wanted to say thank you because it's a lot of work, but we appreciate that. And the community's feedback to me was very, very positive. So thank you.
Thank you.
I also wanted to say kudos to Mrs. Cindy Brayton, our principal of Davenport School of the Arts, for their spring musical, Frozen Junior. It was absolutely fabulous. That is their playbill. If you didn't, I know Miss Yoakum attended the same time that I did, and really hard to put into words. I know all of our theater departments across this beautiful district are incredible, and this one particularly stole my heart. I just want to say a special thanks to our director and co-producer, Mrs. Sandy Kane, and to our co-producer and technical director, Mr. Robert Mosenberg. The musical was wonderful with so many talented children, and it's a blessing because every time they do a musical or a production, they do two casts. And someone asked me, I wonder why they do that. And the reason is to give more kids an opportunity to be in a production. If there's just one set of characters, then just one set of kids get it. So they actually have managed this for years and years, giving so many kids the opportunity to be a part of it. So we had wonderful, talented students. We had amazing sets, awesome costumes. Wow, unbelievable. Terrific music and lighting. And of course, nothing could happen without the support of the parents and the staff and the many, many volunteers that come out to make these productions happen with all those children. So it was great, and I just want to say thank you once again to DSA for once again doing an awesome musical. So with that, Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Cunningham. Mr. Nolte?
Thank you. So many different things to be thankful for. Again, thanks for renaming the field, Jerry May Field at Jenkins. That means a lot to them. And I taught here for many, many moons, and I had to drop by Medalla Elementary School where I taught physical education for 3 years. And I was curious, there was a huge building going behind the school, and I was trying to decide if that was going to be a new administration suite or a cafeteria and auditorium. So anyway, I stopped, I introduced myself, and the principal, Mrs. McLeod, gave me a great tour. The auditorium, the original one upstairs, has all been redone, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And they've improved so much. We didn't have very many azaleas and things hanging around when I was there. Sort of looked like Charlie Brown did the work when I was there. Now it's just incredible. So we got George Jenkins looking sharp, and Medalla where I taught, and then I also went to Mulberry High School for the seniors when they decided where they were going to go, and it was just amazing. Mr. Young did a great job, as all our principals and staff are doing. And in fact, I want to definitely thank everybody that gets a paycheck from the Polk County School Board, because they definitely deserve it. Everybody that gets a check. And then the people that volunteer, the people that help at the crosswalks, and it's just amazing how everybody's working together as a team. And I know it's going to continue, and I know it's tough to teach some days. It's just, somebody doesn't show up next door, and you're going to be taking their class along with your class. So kudos to the teachers, all the hard work they do, the aides, the parents, just everybody. It's great to see everybody pulling the same direction and working together. And thank you, and thank you, parents. Keep coming to all those meetings, and you make a big difference. And have a great one, and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Nolte. Ms. Fields?
I just wanted to give a shout out to Khalil Carswell. She's one of the community liaisons. Superintendent Hyde talked about the great job that they're doing. I know firsthand she's been working extremely hard in the community. She's been doing a lot to ensure that the commitment days are on track and getting different donations. And I'm very excited about going out to Kathleen High School on Thursday for their commitment day. But at some point in time, Superintendent Hyde, I would really appreciate if they could come and report out and tell us what they've been able to do over the last year, since this is something new. I think that they have some good stuff to share, and it'd be nice for the community to hear that.
Yes, ma'am. We always plan a summary at the end of the year. And you're right, they've accomplished some pretty amazing things this year. So.
Thank you, and that's my report.
Thank you, Ms. Fields. Dr. Allen?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say thanks to my fellow board members for supporting my attendance to the FSBA School Finance 2.0. I feel like really grown through the professional development opportunities that they offer. So really just want to say appreciate for, supporting that. Secondly, I had a chance to interact and see some of our students throw some weights around. And I don't know if you knew this, that we actually hosted the men's state weightlifting championship at the RP Funding Center, and that was just incredible just to take part. I didn't really follow that sport in high school and so forth, so to take part and to sort of learn that discipline in that brief moment was quite impressive, and we actually had several of our students from Polk County competing. Mr. Troutman, he's the weightlifting coach at Bartow High, invited me and had a chance to just come alongside. He had two gentlemen that were competing, and just seeing him interact with his students was so affirming. And, their parents were there cheering them on. Just to be a part of that was so cool. And it's so strategic, because they have like 3 opportunities to really push that weight higher each go round. So just, amazing that our students were participating at the state level. The fact that we hosted it, Dan Talbert, your team, thank you. They were just busy bees all day and just doing incredible work there. Also had a chance to stop in and celebrate as well with Superintendent Hyde. So many of our staff members were present at the Hearth Luncheon, and I think there were about 60 of our Hearth students that are graduating. We were celebrating them. And I just want to say a job well done in supporting and sending them off. I mean, it is incredible, the gifts that are just poured over these students and honoring what they've done to accomplish this, and pretty incredible. So I was thinking Lakeland Realtors, Rachel Hernandez, basically they put $150 of food gift cards in every student's hands at that event. They walked away with, an iPad, all kinds of different things. Lake Ashton residents, Mike's Grill, Polk Sheriff's Charities, Lake Gibson United Methodist Church, the Vanguard class at First United Methodist Church, and then the First Baptist Church of Winter Haven, and then a slew of names of individuals that are supporting that initiative. Lakeland Leads, just thanks to them, we had a chance to celebrate the work happening inside of our academies, which I think was a very unique thing to do. And then we had this outside organization just doing great things to really honor the work that's happening inside of our schools. It was great to hear Governor Jeb Bush present his thoughts as well on the future of education. I just thought, and I'll just tell one little story. Steve Scruggs, he's the president of Lakeland Economic Development Council. He was sitting at the table, and he'd shared with me that night, he's like, I've been going to so many of these dinners over the years within economic development, and that was the best dinner conversation I ever had. And we had 2 educators at our table from Lake Gibson that taught in the Business Academy. So that was just a great night to really honor the work that's happening inside of our academies. And then lastly, the commitment days, they've just gone off so well. I was at Harrison yesterday and then Lakeland High today. You hear all these success stories. And being next to Superintendent Hyde today, we were like betting, what discipline or what major these students are going to be studying. So it was incredible just hearing how definitive and just purposeful and what they were going to be doing, post their high school education. So a great affirming day for our students. Really appreciate the work that's being done to just, again, pour gifts over these students and just send them off so well. Here's on a final note as well, by the way, as it relates to the pencil, as you know, that some of our greatest American authors used pencils. I don't know if you know that. Even to this day, Wendell Berry, if you've ever read any of Wendell Berry's work, he writes all of his manuscripts with a wood case pencil. And it's also my understanding that John Steinbeck used about 300 pencils in writing of East of Eden. And so I don't know if you knew that. Now, one more thing. One more thing. I've got this prop today that I'm going to send down to Lori Cunningham, if y'all could just pass that down.
In the Florida legislature, you have to get props approved before you.
Oh, really? And I didn't realize it was going to rain today, so that just makes it even more important when I brought this prop. And I was just thinking about you, Miss Cunningham, because you just, recently came out and publicly said that, you're completing your term and serving us within the school district for so many years. So what this prop for me represents in relation to you, okay, 2 things. obviously it was a rainy day today, and typically it's gloomy. And what this windshield wiper does, as it represents you, is you've always allowed us to see clearly with a sense of hope and as we're looking forward. And the lyric that came to my mind is, I can see clearly now the rain is gone, right? It's going to be a bright and sunshiny day. You're always smiling and bring us that sense of hope. So I really appreciate that. And then that windshield wiper as well, it's like it's a windshield wiper that would go on a luxury car, right? So what that says about you is you are always a classy lady. So I really appreciate that about you. So thank you so much for your service. Madam Chair, that's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. Man, we get pencil facts, props, a little singing. Mr. Sharpless, how are you going to live up to that?
I'm not. Very clear. I did want to start out by where you ended. I want to thank Board Member Cunningham for your years of service to this board. Personally, your friendship, as well as the mentorship that you've given me throughout my entire time that I've been involved here in Polk County. I just want to thank you personally, truly. And I echo the words of Board Member Dr. Allen here, classy. So thank you. I've got, well, I'm also gonna, man, I feel like me and you might have stole some of these, you might have stole some of my thunder here. But I will say this, we've all talked about these commitment days. Last week I was able to attend Lake Region, as well as this morning, Frostproof High School, and tomorrow morning, Roosevelt. The schools in my district. While I appreciate all of the students and all of their commitments, the one that really hit home to me is whenever our students are getting recognized for their commitment to entering our military. Knowing that these young men and these young ladies are willing to make the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms, truly touching. When I was able this morning at Frostproof to shake some of their hands, I would tell all the students congratulations, but for those students, all I could say was thank you, because I really don't have anything else I can say. Superintendent Hyde talked about the cook-off, the barbecue cook-off. Appreciate the shout out to my dad there. Me and Mr. Nolte, we started this school board trek together, and I'll have to say, the 4 high schools that have a barbecue team, 2 of them are in my district, and 2 of them are in Mr. Nolte's district. So we might have a little rivalry going on there. It's all in good fun though. Fort Meade, George Jenkins, Roosevelt Academy, and then the winner of the cook-off, Lake Region High School's team, which I think are very appropriately named the Thunder Thighs, for their chicken thighs there. That made me laugh when I heard that, sorry. But anyhow.
Yeah.
We don't but the silver, I just had to say congratulations to all of them. I've got 2 other things I want to talk about real quick. I was able to attend, as Board Chair Wyatt said earlier, I was able to attend the Silver Garland Awards. And any of you that know me know that our assessment data is very important. I like to make decisions based on data, but we also talk about developing the whole child as part of Polk County Public Schools. And when you sit there at a Silver Garlands Award and you hear the volunteer work that these students are doing, that, to me, encapsulates the whole child. That's something that, I came away inspired. I don't know how else to say it, but truly, all the volunteer work, there were some stories from all over this county, and if you ever have the opportunity to attend a Silver Garlands Award, I highly, highly suggest it, because I believe you will come away inspired as well. And the last thing I want to talk about, this is something that I appreciate Superintendent Hyde not talking about, but you feel free anytime you can talk about it. I met with Superintendent Hyde this past Saturday, and we went out to the Florida FFA Leadership Training Center, and we went to the Future Builders of America, their state leadership conference they had out there. And I just want to brag for a second. The executive director of that organization said that Polk County has the best construction teachers in the state. We have the best construction teachers in the state. Yeah, they said they could not do the event without our construction teachers. So, I mean, we saw it last meeting. We had national champions, right? I'm not sure if this was said about Mr. Giles and his team, but they were a first year competing at this event. When they went out there, people did not expect very much of them, okay? They came back with a national championship. And not only that, they were having to call, the model was a California model. They were having to create this structure, these plans for the structure in California. So they had to call, obviously, their standards are way different than ours in Florida. So they were having to call out to California, talk to people, and get the specs. And it was, I don't know, I came away very impressed with that as well. So kudos to all of our construction teachers in our county. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Sharpless. And Ms. Miller.
Thank you. This time of the year is very, very packed in our schedules. I just have a few highlights here. Polk City Elementary held their 95th annual cake auction, and they have a real auctioneer that comes out. If you've never been there before, you should watch it. You should participate. It's not for the faint of heart or the cheap wallets. I did not take my daughter this year because last year she got into a bidding war with a very well-known Mr. Bronson, which cost me a lot of money. So I left her at home, but we did help support the school that night, and I encourage you to do that. I think it's a great way to bring the community together. The Lakeland Leads event, I can tell you, is something I've never seen before, and I've been around a very long time in this community. The business community saying, we're interested in your students and in your schools. And what Jeb Bush said that I took with me was Polk County was doing it right, and the rest of the country needs to get on board with this kind of relationship building to support your students. I was excited to see my principals. I had a lot of Lake Gibson there. We were representing, but my principal was sitting across from leadership of Lakeland Regional and having great conversations. You saw that across the room. They didn't group us all together. We sat with each other and got to visit. So the fact that Mr. Scruggs was able to meet some of our staff from Lake Gibson and have an amazing time, I think was the huge benefit from that event. So I look forward to that. It's going to be an annual event. I hope to attend next year's as well. I've been visiting the transition units across this district, talking to some great staff and talking to students about employability skill training. And one of the stops yesterday was at Project Search at Lakeland Regional Health. I can tell you that the staff showed up in the auditorium to support those students. If you don't know, we have a teacher hosted at Lakeland Regional. It's a class for students with disabilities who defer their diploma 17 to 22 to learn employment skills. And Lakeland Regional hires every graduate. Every one of them was offered a job yesterday, and they all have accepted in different departments of that hospital. We need to duplicate that across this district to have similar opportunities. But Sandy Perlowitz is a phenomenal teacher, and she's running that program, and it's very successful. And I hope we can see that in more locations. Last Saturday, my first time ever at the Libitor Fund fundraiser. Lena Swartzwalder's brother, Larry Libitor, was big into this community and did a lot for students. And what they do is they host a fundraiser, and the money goes to Filling the Lane and these other programs that assist students who want to go into sports, who need help with the cost. It was great to see that. So they were supporting our students in their way by raising money for funds for those students who want to participate in sports, but not only the fees, but just the equipment and the expenses of getting to practice is hard for our kids, and so they help support that. So I want to thank Lana for doing that and for continuing her brother's work here in Polk County. I attended the Auburndale commitment ceremony, which I agree with my colleagues here as far as seeing what students are doing and celebrating everyone from transition to workforce to military to different universities. And there is a little bit of competitiveness between our high schools. I was told that Auburndale had more students accepted into UF than George Jenkins, so there's a competition there of how many students get into which schools. But we weren't just celebrating the kids going to college. We were celebrating those kids who are making the decision to go into life in every kind of journey imaginable. So that was super exciting. And I also thought it was touching that kids were leaving computers and printers on the table and picking up the laundry baskets because they knew their peers needed the computers and printers more than they did. That speaks a lot about our kids, and especially the community of Auburndale. The last thing is Bartow Ford which supports our students every year with the students who make good grades and turn in their report cards. We had a beautiful student from Haines City, and her smile was captured by a great photographer. I'm going to say her name wrong, so I'm not going to attempt it. Plus, I just lost it. But I want to thank Bartow Ford for providing that. You win a car by doing this, and that's a huge gift to students, and I know it benefits the families as well. So Bartow Ford is a great community sponsor, and I appreciate their work here with the school district. But that's all I have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. And next, I have a couple comments. So I think we can all agree this is the most exciting time of the year for our new board members. Just wait until you get to go to graduations, because that's my favorite part. You know, all of the phone calls and emails, and just this is what makes it all. It's a great reminder to me, just this season of things like Silver Garland, when you get to see all of the volunteer service and the whole child truly being served as they do a lot of these projects. So this is one of the most exciting times of the year for me. But all of the events have already been covered, so I will not beat a dead horse. But I do want to recognize, if Lisa will duck into the back and we have a little gift. I know I'm breaking my own rule of not having props. But tomorrow is Administrative Assistant Day. And you know, how else do you surprise your administrative assistant than calling them out at a board meeting? So we have a gift for both Yvette and for Linda. And I know Linda, I think, probably already went home this evening. But we appreciate all that you do, Yvette. I know you're very sad we won't be here with you tomorrow to celebrate, because I know how much you enjoy having all 7 of us in the building asking you questions at the same time. But we appreciate all that you do for us. And, you know, they say every person has 7 personalities. So with 7 board members, it sounds like you have 49 personality bosses, which can be overwhelming. So, and you handle it with grace, and Linda as well. So thank you so much for all that you do for us. So, and that will conclude my report, and we will now move on to public comment for non-agenda items. So just as before, to register to speak, community members must have filled out a speaker card in the lobby prior to the meeting. All speakers will be given 3 minutes. The light will turn yellow when you have 1 minute left, and you will hear a beep when your time is concluded. Please note that although the board encourages community participation, no immediate action will be taken on items presented during this public comment portion of the meeting. If follow-up board action is required, then the matter may be placed on the agenda at a subsequent meeting in accordance with school board policy. So first up, we will have Michael Johnson, and on deck is Bernard Wells. I think Miss Wendy has a timer. And you can start when you're ready.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Johnson. I used to work for the Department of Defense for 36 years. I work with DCIS, and the federal prosecutors help them put together fact-finding for the cases that we presented to the various different agencies, administrative law judges and federal judges. Today, I'm here today to make known something that's very disturbing that's going on in the United States that affects this school board here. And every properly educated adult knows that when you speak to certain individuals and you make false statements, you're subject to prosecution, crimes, incarcerations. You suffer the consequence of making false statements to a federal or state, a person that is covered by those laws that affect interviewing folks. Numerous government representatives and people have suffered the consequence of making false statements to the wrong people. You have a U.S. congressman who lives in McLean, Virginia, who is claiming that he graduated from this high school, from Albandale High School in 1998. He also went further on recordings and interviews that he was a part of the wrestling team and the football team at that subject high school. Thanks to your school staff, we got public information, who graduated from the high school that year from your staff. I appreciate it for the cooperation. We looked at your yearbooks during the time frame this individual said he attended school here, and we didn't find him in there. He's not on the list. The alumni books that were in the Albandale library that talk about every graduate that graduated from high school from the day the doors opened to around 2004 has no name of this congressman in it at all. The pictures of the wrestling team and the football team don't include him either. And we talked to the coach, we talked to the principal of the school, the wrestling coaches and others in high school. And I really thank the librarian, Ashley Johnson, and the media person that got an award here tonight for a great job for helping us, discover facts. And what is really disgusting is that tonight, this evening, I hear all the great things and all the great accomplishments and how hard it is to get through a graduation, get that, that little cap and walk off that stage of diploma. Because I remember last one I attended was my grandson just a few months ago, and I was so proud of him, and he worked so hard. And when someone lies that they had graduated from Albany High School and say they were on a wrestling team, it was offense to everybody who belonged to the school and graduated from the school. And I would like for this school, and we're going to be sending a letter to you guys and asking him to cease and desist, saying that he graduated from this high school. It's an insult to every student, every teacher, and every staff person, school board, and everyone. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And next we'll have Bernard Wells, and on deck is Bishop Willie Mincy.
Greetings to each of you. My name is Bernard Wells, and I want to challenge each of you as board members to visit the behavior units, especially those contracted with the INVO staff, and see what type of services and support our students are receiving for roughly $75,000 per student for approximately 40 students, which equates to roughly $3 million. And don't take anyone else's word for it, go see for yourself. The behavior department in the district serves all demographics, but the staff makeup of the behavior department does not represent the student demographic of the district. This can infer that there are expressed needs of these students that are not being met due to the lack of diversity and cultural sensitivity within the behavior department staff. This is also evident when the behavior units themselves, which perpetuates the school to prison pipeline. Since Mr. Hyde supports the shift from being compliance-driven to being compassion-driven with a focus on students getting services they need, where is the compassion for these students in the behavior units? There's also other students outside of these behavior units across the district who are being neglected and are receiving behavior support or not receiving behavior supports that is needed for their success. Multiple out-of-school suspensions seem to be the go-to, but it is not working for our students. What are you guys going to do about this? Our children are waiting. Per Board Member Wyatt, doing non-agenda items to the public, all speakers will be given 3 minutes and no immediate action will be taken on any item. If this is the rule, why was it allowed at the previous board meeting for certain speakers to go well over 3 minutes? The microphones were turned back on for these individuals, and there was dialogue between the speakers, the board member Wyatt, and the superintendent. In direct conflict to your policy, action was taken on the item presented by these speakers. So, do the rule only apply to certain members of the community who come before this board? Board Member Wyatt also made it clear by engaging with these individuals that their concerns were important, but when another speaker, myself, inquired about additional time, Board Member Wyatt was very dismissive. This dismissive attitude further speaks to the gross disrespect that was displayed toward Pastor Boss by both Superintendent Hyde and Board Member Wyatt. Per Ms. Wyatt, the community is encouraged to speak at the board meetings, but why would they when there is a disparate treatment of public speakers when engaging with the board and the superintendent? Specifically.
Thank you, Mr. Wells. Next up is Bishop Willie Mincy.
All right, board members, tonight I come to be in concurrence because we are in a bad hour, sad hour. All 7 of you sit here. Ms. Wyatt, I want to speak to you. As Mr. just said to you, you have given us directives about how you all owe Pastor Boss, you, Ms. Miller, you, Fred Hyde, a public apology. If you're going to be transparent, a public apology, because you all disrespected him as the man of God. I've given y'all the warning. God have told me to come and give y'all the warning. Judgment is coming to Polk County School Board. You all have done some diabolical, evil things to your staff. They're in a fear-mongering situation, and you all sit here and hoopla and say all the stuff y'all say and laugh and talk and carry on. It's sad before God's face how y'all are allowing yourselves to sit here and go along with the things that ain't right. These people are scared to death of their jobs. They don't know what to do. And y'all don't, I told you, board members, y'all need to go. I told a couple of y'all need to be vigilant. Go out and speak to these principals and these teachers in these schools and see what's going on. People can tell you anything. And everybody want to make a facade and make it look like everything is pretty and rosy. And the teachers is crying. When I go into school, they crying. They hurting. The principals hurting. I'm loaded down. They don't know what to do. And it ain't all coming from Tallahassee. It's the way that they're being treated by their superiors that are over their regionals. They need to wake up. They need to wake up and treat. My mama taught me, do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. And this is the thing that some of you all don't have a heart for because you're on top. Let me tell you, you will be on the bottom. And when you get on the bottom, God Almighty eyes is upon you. And I guarantee you, some of them same people that y'all have done wrong, you're going to call for them. You're going to send for them. You're going to send for them. Nebuchadnezzar was driven out of the kingdom, and God let him eat grass like an animal for 7 years because he disrespected the man that he had sent to him. So I'm going to tell you right now, you can disrespect me. You can treat me any kind of way you want. I'm going to still come every chance I get. I'm going to stand up in this thing. When God give me the words to say, I'm going to say it to you. Whether you accept me, I'm not looking for y'all friendship. I don't want your friendship. I want you to do what is right. Right is the only thing going to prevail. Anytime you do wrong, you're going to have to pay. You're going to pay. Y'all act like Miss Cunningham getting ready to die. I hope you ain't going to die, Miss Cunningham. I hope you're going to stay around a little longer, but they act like you getting ready to die. They telling you so and so and so and so and so and so. Let me tell you something. All of you all need to understand the truth of the matter. You need to do what's right because right is going to prevail.
Thank you, Bishop Mincy. With no further business to come before the board, this meeting is adjourned.